Hello ladies and gentlemen, An Idiot Imports is sponsored by PlayAsia, and this copy of the game you're about to see probably came from them as part of their sponsorship deal, unless I very specifically say it didn't in the video. If you want to support this series, use the link in the description to go to PlayAsia and buy an item or two. It'll help me out and increase the budget I get for import games. You can also use the coupon code BLUEVITA at checkout to save a bit of money, but it won't count towards my sales if you don't use that link. Either way, thanks for your support and enjoy the show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here checking out, and I've written this down just to be sure, Dogimegi Inryoku-Chan Love and Peace. No, I've never heard of it either. This is a port from a 3DS game that came out in 2013, I believe. And it was pretty similar to this game, actually. This game just adds new levels, as far as I can tell, along with, you know, the higher res art and stuff like that. This came out in 2015 from Arc System Works, and it's a game I'd never heard before I went looking through the bloody Japanese PlayStation Store looking for digital download games. So, we're gonna give it a go right now. The menu options down here aren't very particularly relevant. You've got credits over on the right, go back to the title screen on the left, and your help screen in the middle, but you don't need to worry about any of those because I'm here to show you how to play the game. You've got three different modes. You've got an arranged mode, which is a bunch of new levels put together by the designers of the port. The third mode is the 50 levels from the 3DS game, and the second mode is Hell mode, which has a bunch of really hard levels to play. So, we're just going to play a few levels in each mode, or should I say, we're going to play a few levels in the 3DS original mode, we're going to play a few levels here, and we're going to play like one level in Hell mode, because seriously, they're not kidding when they call it Hell mode. It is really fucking hard. But we'll get to that shortly. So, this game is very simple in concept. You are some sort of Cupid, and you have a bow that can fire 2 arrows at a time. And these 2 arrows can do very different things depending on where you fire them at. So, I fired an arrow at an enemy, and then I fired an arrow at the ground. And when you fire an arrow, if it hits something that's capable of moving or living or anything like that, when you hit an enemy with one arrow, the second arrow will draw the enemy towards it. So you can even hit 2 enemies together and they will get drawn towards each other, but if you hit one with the floor and one with the enemy will get drawn to the floor. The further that this connection goes on for, the more damage you'll do to an enemy, and enemies can take different amounts of health. Enemies can take different amounts of damage, it just depends, right? You can also do neat little tricks like that, because as you can see, the levels wrap around each other. So, you can do neat little things, like firing an arrow off one part of the screen, and then firing an arrow at an enemy, and make it so that the arrow will just loop around, and just wipe the floor with everything just by sending an enemy all the way across the level. Neat little trick. You can scroll the screen with the directional buttons. You can also use the left analog stick to move, but this is a platformer. You kind of want to use the D-pad. Oh no, you can't use the left analog stick to move. I thought you could. Must be me misremembering. I cannot speak today, and I don't know why. Like seriously, it's worse than normal. I'm starting to turn into a drooling retard. But anyway. The basic idea of every level is to clear every level of the group of enemies that exists in it. This is a pretty easy task in concept, but in execution, not so much. There's a lot of enemies. There's not that many types of enemies, but there's a lot of them. The game absolutely loves to throw an absolute shit ton of enemies at you. You do have a secondary jump that can help out. That'll let you float for just a little bit. And if you fire 2 arrows at walls, you will create what's basically a springboard. This can help you reach higher areas, and the game does indeed love to throw this shit at you, where you need to do some really annoying platforming challenges. The trick is to fire off your second set of arrows immediately as you're flying upwards from the first one, like that, so you can get a little bit extra height. I really don't actually need to do that, because I can actually do this. If I jump here, you know, I fire that there, you'll have heard the the sound of the poor things getting destroyed. It's a very nice audio cue. Yeah. See, look at that. You can fire it there, then I just push it down and it just flies up towards me because it doesn't go via the edges of the world, it goes via line of sight. You do also have the ability to stand stock still by holding the R button, and you can aim your arrows that way. And arrows can actually be aimed in 8 directions, not 4. So, the game is... It's actually pretty interesting. I'll give it a lot of credit for having an interesting concept, because it's a weird way of using projectiles in a platformer, and I do quite like it. It is surprisingly challenging, too. You do have a lives and a heart system going on there, but I don't really think that amounts to much. I'm guessing that the 3DS version made it so that... Let's see, did I actually hit it? No, I didn't. You can tell if you've hit something by the fact that it's a springboard. But yeah, as I was saying, you do have hearts over on the right there, which is your health points. You start out with 3, and you go between levels, and you actually keep the heart points you have until you lose a life, at which point you'll restart the level you're on with 3 hearts. Which is a little odd, but whatever. The only thing is, when you game over in this game, you get to restart the level with all your lives and all your hearts, which doesn't really make that much sense unless the game previously did something along the lines of like making you play through the entire game with just 3 hearts. With that being said, though, playing through this game with only the 3 hearts and 3 lives they give you at the beginning is almost bloody impossible. Sometimes you can get like extra hearts and extra lives throughout the game, but it's quite rare. So you just end up with annoyingly low hearts sometimes. But again, as I said, it doesn't really matter. There's no trophies or anything as far as I can tell for playing through the entire game with only the hearts and stuff that you're given. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. The main thing that they actually make you play through this game for is time. Every set of levels, every one of the 3 level sets are timed, and oh, for fuck's sake. That was a bad place to get stuck. Every one of the 3 level sets is timed, and you need to obviously finish the level as fast as possible, and this can be encouraged via the usage of clever little arrow placements and trying to hit as many enemies as possible with one combo, and trying to get chains that go as far as humanly possible with one combo, because the longer they go for, well, the longer they fly for, I should say, the more damage is done to them. So there are enemies in this game that can't be taken out with just close by arrow shots. You need to hit them like twice with long range shots in order to really get them dead. But colliding enemies into other enemies mid-flight is the best way to do damage, bar none. It does an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage, and it is just outright the best way. It is just outright the best way to do damage in this game. So it's got clever usage of... oh, bloody hell. It's got clever usage of, like, unique little mechanics. And it's got a unique way of playing the game, and it's good for score attackers, because well, not so much score attackers, but time attackers. They are different beasts, I admit. Right. Okay, go up, and then immediately throw out the next 2, and I'm still kind of stuck. Jesus. Right. There we go, that's more like it. No, let's not get stuck in the next bloody hole. Well, at least I got one of them, right. Let's see if I can hit this one. There we go, level done. Right, not doing this level because it's a piece of shit. We're gonna go and play the Omake levels now. That's what they call it. They call it Omake. I'm not entirely sure why it's named that. I imagine it's some Japanese thing I'm not entirely aware of, but we're just gonna pop into these levels here and play them. Remember what I said about platforming challenges? I wasn't kidding. But yeah, anyway. The one major problem I have with this game is its controls. It's a very laggy game, and I imagine that this is on purpose, because I'm pretty sure the game does this in order to add some extra challenge to the platforming. However, I find it to be quite frustrating. The controls are relatively slow to work. Your jumps are really moon jumpy. Like, they are extremely moon jumpy, even at the best of times. And you'll find yourself getting into really annoying situations just because you couldn't move or jump fast enough, which is a pain in the ass, I will tell you now. I'll do it. And also, the game's difficulty is, as I said before, quite monstrous at times, especially on the level that I quit. You really have to put a lot of effort into getting through that level without getting a hit, I'll tell you that much. Thankfully, you don't have to do that. The game does... Actually, I don't think it does check if you've gone through a level without taking damage or not. It's a bit odd. Like, the menu screen's kind of hard to interpret, but... Still, my main problem with this game is the controls. Like, at least with this game, you can pop into the other set of levels and just practice a little bit if you need to. Because all 3 levels are unlocked, well, not so much unlocked separately, but they are on their own chains of levels. You don't have to beat any particular set of levels in order to unlock the other set of levels. So, you know, you can play as much of any particular set of levels as you want to if you need to practice. Which is good. Graphically, it's very basic, if you couldn't tell. I mean, it is a port from a 3DS game, so you don't really need to expect much, but, I mean, it is pretty bare bones, and the music will drive you insane after a while. It's just overly peppy nonsense that just drives me mad after a certain amount of time, but honestly, it's better about this than that Rabi Larby game that I was playing. If you're wondering why I picked this over playing, like, Damascus Gear or the Toho game, it's a little bit odd, because, I didn't know what game to play next. I didn't think I was going to end up playing this one, but basically I just put the numbers 1 through 4 in a random number generator, and this was what won. So, yeah. Wasn't exactly my intention to end up playing this of all games, but honestly, I kind of gave this game a little bit too much shit. I was expecting it to be a lot like, the Rabi Larby game that I played, but no, this is actually pretty interesting. Right, I need to find my way over there, which means I have to get over there, which means I have to get all the way up to the other corner. Jesus wept. Right, let's just head that way. See what I mean about you need to find a good path through the levels if you want to get the lowest times. Unfortunately, I don't think the game has online leaderboards, which would actually be a pretty neat thing to have for a game like this. Although, I imagine that some... The fuck did... I must have hit that crystal. Must have hit that crystal and got it from all the way over on the other side of the bloody level. Which is actually kind of silly, but oh well. Right, hang on. I know how to do a downwards jump, and then I just hit that, and then there we go. But yeah, the game's interesting. It's not a immediately buy the game right now from your Japanese PlayStation store, because that's the only place you can get it from game, but I admit that the game is a lot better than it looks. I like the way it handles its mechanics, its strategy, its platforming. Having 2 unique uses for the bow keeps it being an interesting tool, and they have a lot of different levels. They have 150 levels in the game, which is a lot of levels. I just got my ass beat there, so let's give that another shot, shall we? It's even got bosses, which I will take the opportunity to quit this level once I have finished it, and I will go and show you what one of the boss fights looks like. It's actually the same boss fight in, like, both the Omake levels and the, in both the Omake levels and the new levels. It's the same boss, but with just different level layout. Which is a little odd, but, I mean, I'm not massively against it. Hang on. These arrows drop after a certain flight time, so if I get in the right spot... There we go. I should be able to hit him. There we go. Just fire arrows until he's There's a way. Yeah, we will quit to the main menu now, and I will go and show you the boss fight. Same basic rules. Hit the thing with the thing and try not to die. There's one of the grey ones, by the way. These ones are really fucking annoying because they are just massive douches to deal with. Like, you've got to deal with... You've got to hit them like 2 or 3 times. Unless you can get a really good chain going, and even then. The game runs absolutely fine too. It maintains good performance. I got nothing wrong with the way it handles. So it's actually pretty easy if you can get it done before she drops in like 20,000 dudes. There we go. See that? Pretty simple, but I like it. So yeah, this is what one of the later levels looks like. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go and play one of the harder levels. Now, as I said, when they said hell mode, they weren't kidding. I only managed to finish 1 level of this mode before I basically gave up on it. So, allow me to show you what this level is like. Remember, the bull dudes can only be hit from the back, and the grey dudes have a ton of health. So, and the spikes will hurt me if I step on them. So, basically, this just turns into outright chaos immediately, and I came in with only 1 heart, which means I instantly died, which kind of sucks, but let's give this another shot, shall we? If I just send him straight down there, yeah, now he does some damage. I jump. Didn't help me out very much, but oh well. Draw these 2 together, and he didn't take enough damage to die, so he just stood there and killed me, which is great. Jump, bring him down, jump again so I'm out of the way for a bit. And just hit these 2 against each other hard enough and they will eventually take enough damage to die, but... There we go. Now I just, fuck a turn around. Alright, go up there and die. Right, now I have to find my way up here for the second half of the level. Fuck. So now there are these 2 here, and they are very hard to hit under normal circumstances, so you got to try and bounce up, kill that thing there, then aim down to kill the other 2. And, yeah, compared to the levels that I was playing earlier, this is a fucking cakewalk. I mean, Jesus. I mean, compared to the levels I was playing earlier, they were a fucking cakewalk in comparison to this. That's what I meant to say, because, as I said, English is failing me today. I haven't figured out a way to get through the first part of the level with more than 1 heart yet. It's really that difficult. And this is the first level. I can't even imagine what the boss fight's gonna be like, because holy shit. Right. Oh, that actually went pretty well for me, so now I just need to... Okay. Damn it! I landed on the spike by a fucking pixel. Goddamn pixels. They're always the enemy in the pixel platformer genre. Okay. That didn't help me out much. That did though. Right. Knock him, and I fell on the spikes and died. Because of course I did. Come on. Nope. Nope, that's not going to be the way to do it. Play hell. The 5 things there to get caught on. I got caught on the back of the 1 thing that I'm gonna get through this level on video. I've done it before, and I'm gonna fucking do it again. Nope, never mind. You go back over there. You go over there. You go straight up there, and... Right. Just hit you 2 against each... I don't know what that text says, by the way. I didn't translate it. There probably is some kind of story about how it's good versus evil. At least that's what the website implied when I was looking for the real name of this game. Fuck, I hate those spikes. this platform was just a little wider, this level would be so much easier. He says, fully acknowledging that I don't think the point of this set of levels is to be fair. Someone's probably yelling at me right now. What the fuck are you doing, you moron? Nope, never mind. I am not going to try anymore. It's been 20 minutes and you've seen enough of this game. Seriously, this is stupid difficult. The level's actually pretty simple once you get to that staircase there, because all you need to do is... Hang on, I'll just scroll my camera over there a little bit. You can see that there's a part where you can just aim diagonally down and you just keep shooting diagonally down. It's not going to be the fastest way to do it, but you can do it. It's just that getting out of that first bit is the most annoying part of that level. But yeah, that was a look at Dogimegi Inryoku-Chan, Love and Peace. Chan. Seriously, how do you pronounce that? It's actually pretty good. Like, for a 700 yen game that was a port of a 3DS game, you could do a lot worse. And if you are ever on the PlayStation Network for Japan and you end up picking this one up, it won't be a waste of 700 yen. Seriously, 700 yen is like $6. That's actually pretty cheap. So yeah, there you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.